And now here's our next track, Kid Charlemagne, verse and chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's begin our look at the verse section of Kid Charlemagne by examining the comping figures used. First of all, comping is a style of jazz accompaniment used frequently with Steely Dan and other fusion players. Begin by learning the basic voicings A minor, G6, F6-9, and B-flat 13 by themselves as chord voicings. Then experiment with funky strumming and syncopation and various muting effects. Remember that in this style it's idiomatic to think of constant 16th notes as the motor drive behind the rhythm. So try a chorus also of straight 16ths and try releasing or not picking certain notes within those 16th note groupings. Here's a demonstration. Now let's repeat those same two chords, A minor and G6. Try lifting your fingers in between the 16th note strumming to create syncopations and accents. This should give you some idea of how this style of rhythm playing is approached. The lead guitar entrance is very typical Larry Carlton. Notice the bending of color tones and the juxtaposing of rhythm as well as lead guitar within the same fills. The last phrase of the verse elaborates on the idea of rhythmical fills versus melodic fills. Over the chorus, Larry plays these fills. For the concluding section of the chorus, F7, G7, and C7, the upper partial of the chords is used. Kid Charlemagne, guitar solo. 1, 2, 3, 4. The solo begins simply in an A minor pentatonic with question and answer motifs. Notice the variety of expressionistic devices like bends and releases, slurs, hammer-ons, and pull-offs. The solo continues over the modulation of D minor, B7 to E minor. Notice the D minor and B chord shapes used in this line. Over the D chord, intervals based on a D major ninth shape are used. Over the C major 7th chord, we begin to see the typical Larry Carlton chord substitution technique. You'll notice the outlines from G major pentatonic and the E minor triad. Over the basic tonality of E minor, where we hear the chords E minor 7 and D over E, E minor pentatonic and the B minor 7 chord sound is used. In this phrase over A minor and G6, you can hear use of the 9th tone, the B over A minor, as well as the E minor chord outline over G6. Over the F chord, a C major pentatonic series of pedal tones is used. This builds extensions by building on the triad based on the 5th of the chord. Over the B flat 13 chord, you'll hear a high C pedal tone used, as well as a C major shape over B flat. This creates an augmented 11th sound, plus the 13th and the flat 9 as passing tones. Over the F add 9 to G chord change, an A minor pentatonic is used for F, and the G has a purely chordal outline. In the next phrase, notice the use of the 9th tone. First it's bent into on A minor, and then emphasized with an imitative phrase for D minor. This climax line combines E minor pentatonic and A minor pentatonic with chromatic passing tones A sharp and G sharp, leading to a blues sound over the C7 chord. Notice the vibrato and the sustain of the note. Half-step bending is an important feature in the next phrase. Notice the bend from A to B flat and E flat to E natural. The final phrase contains an early version of a tap-on bend lick, roughly 2 years before it was in vogue. These notes are all played on the G string, bend on the 7th fret, a full step, and tap on at the 13th position, then release while holding the bend. Kid Charlemagne, outro. 1, 2, 3, 4. The outro solo is built over the chord vamp of F major 7, E minor 7, D minor 7, and C major 7, a familiar Steely Dan chord pattern. Unison bends set up in question and answer form can be heard in the first phrase. These tend to follow the chord progression. You'll notice an abundance of combined scale ideas which again are a Larry Carlton trademark. He solos over C major pentatonic, C minor pentatonic, as well as the blues scale rather freely throughout the rest of the solo. Here's the next phrase. next section is arranged in 4 short phrases which begin to suggest a development of blues ideas. Notice the chromaticism of F sharp, G sharp, and E flat added to the C major pentatonic within these lines. The closing lines reinforce the blues feeling with still more interplay of C major and C minor pentatonic. Notice the beginning, which is an imitative phrase, and then the rest of it, which is rather florid and free form. There's a slight bit of imitation as the fade-out begins.